This past weekend, all churches were busy getting ready for Advent. We have the Advent wreath here and the first candle lit. It's very exciting, but also very busy. Some years we have a weekend between Thanksgiving and Advent. This year we go right into Advent after Thanksgiving. And the Advent season is a season that's filled with different emotions. At first, it's stay alert, be ready, and then it's hopeful anticipation, hopeful of what is to come. And we hear that in the first reading from Isaiah, that people indeed will see that salvation coming from Jerusalem, and that great longing that goes throughout all the centuries, that there will be no more war, that people will beat their implements of destruction into farming utensils. That great hope that Isaiah talks about is what we carry with us also. And Jesus in the gospel reading today, dealing with a Roman centurion. And maybe we forget how amazing that would have been, that a Roman soldier, a commander, would approach Jesus to ask for a favor, to ask for a healing. The people themselves must have been amazed at that. When the centurion came, maybe people thought he was going to arrest Jesus or accuse him of something or stifle his speech. And yet he presented a request. Sometimes we too have to have that anticipation and that expectation and hope that when we approach Jesus, the outcome will be great. It might not always be the outcome we want, but the outcome will be great. And so hope, expectation, anticipation. We have to balance things in our lives. And I think as long as we keep on believing and can tap back and to say God was present there, then God will be present now. And then God will be present in the future. We live with that hope and expectation that because God has touched us once, that God has been in our lives once, we can get through anything. That we realize that if God was walking with me then, God can walk with me now, and God will be walking with me in the future. When we think of faith, when we think of hope, when we think of love, we have to be touched by it once. We have to be touched by that hand of God. And then everything else makes sense. In the scriptures, Hebrew chapter 11, verse 1, is the only place where there's a definition of faith. And it says faith is the expectation of what is hoped for, the reality of things not yet seen. And so faith is like that bird that is once touched by the light, that sings while the dawn is still dark. That's what Advent gives to us, that we are meant to sing even though it is still dark, that we are meant to have that hope and expectation even though all around us there is terrible news. We are resurrection people. We are meant to be people of hope and light and anticipation. And so when suffering comes and tragedy comes, we also know there is love. And with love, almost anything can be endured. Because God has loved us, we have that endurance, hope, and anticipation, and that expectation that whatever comes, God is with us. So let us celebrate this Advent season with that hope, that expectation, knowing that God has touched us in love, and therefore everything will be okay.